Welcome back to today's Explainer, where we're jumping straight into the ultimate zero-to-hero journey of a truly hidden OP protagonist. Imagine, just for a second, waking up in a world that absolutely despises you. You're surrounded by a corrupt noble family, and they are literally plotting your execution. Well, that is exactly the nightmare Asher wakes up to. He's the adopted, supposedly completely talentless son of the Ribeiro family, and his deeply jealous older brother Luke has just framed him for high treason.
Now, facing an imminent execution, you'd think Asher would beg for his life, right? Nope. Instead, he boldly challenges his brother to a duel and proceeds to slice him open with just a few casual flicks of a wooden sword. But of course, the local lord refuses to believe this notoriously useless boy suddenly has these insane skills. So to prove it, he forces Asher into a brutal death match. The rules: survive 5 minutes against his elite guard, Karm.
What happens next is a total masterclass in dramatic irony. Karen unleashes this furious, relentless assault, fully expecting a terrified teenager to just crumble under the pressure. But Asher, he just smiles. To him, every single strike is moving in slow motion. Why? Because locked inside this young, fragile body are the razor-sharp combat instincts of a 70-year-old war veteran, a guy who fought in literal hell against demons half a century ago.
Asher unloads a counter technique so incredibly advanced that he drops Karen flat on his back, and then he delivers this brutal taunt. "Get up, you third-rate swordsman," right in front of all the stunned nobles. It's an epic flex. And when Karen charges back, fueled by pure, unadulterated rage, Asher actually drops his weapon entirely. With one single, devastating punch, he slams the elite knight's head into the ground. He shatters the ground and leaves the entire court absolutely paralyzed with fear. So, to really understand this insane power jump, we've got to look at his past life. 50 years ago, Asher was this thankless chief of security. He was the guy holding the gritty front lines against a massive demon invasion, all while the flashy heroes took all the glory. He survived, lived to a ripe old age, and actually reached the absolute pinnacle of human swordsmanship right before he died. Now, reincarnated 20 years later, he is more than ready to fix this era's soft, complacent warriors.
This brings us to Section 1. Shadows of a Past Life, Reunions and Assassins.
You know, when you display that level of overwhelming, undeniable skill, powerful people are going to take notice. Asher eventually reunites with his old war buddy, Swordmaster Hibben, who is completely stunned to find his former comrade reincarnated in a kid's body. Hibben gives Asher an incredibly rare spatial storage magic glove. This artifact instantly materializes weapons based purely on the user's imagination. It's basically the ultimate power-up for Asher's unpredictable and highly adaptable Imperial combat stance.
Meanwhile, his brother Luke is just seething with jealousy, so much so that he hires the legendary Motorola assassins to take Asher out in the dead of night. Big mistake. Huge. Asher completely slaughters the entire elite squad, corners their leader, and then pays a little late-night visit to Luke's bedroom. With one terrifying, lightning-fast sword strike right beside his brother's head, Asher traumatizes Luke into permanent submission. Problem solved.
Let's move on to Section 2. The Doppelganger Demon, the Ballatoria Threat.
Next up, Asher is assigned to escort his adoptive sister Laika to the isolated territory of Bellatoria, but what they find there is a complete nightmare. The once saintly Lord Valbaka, a hero who literally used to work the fields alongside his people, has mutated into this gluttonous, tyrannical monster. He abruptly cancels Laika's arranged marriage to his son and creepily demands that she become his own concubine instead. Yeah, major red flags.
Asher instantly knows something is horribly wrong here. But how do you expose a demon that's been hiding in plain sight for 2 decades? Well, he sets a brilliant trap that no stolen diary could ever prepare a fake for. He casually strolls right into the Lord's chambers and asks him to recite the sacred Bellatoria family oath. When the Lord just stares back, looking completely confused, Asher calmly draws his blade. Caught totally red-handed in the lie, the fake Valbaka finally reveals its true form. It's this terrifying, one-eyed red doppelganger. It starts bragging about how it fooled the entire territory for 20 years. But the moment Asher reveals that he is the exact same Imperial swordsman who wiped out the rest of this demon's clan 50 years ago, the monster totally panics. Asher then ruthlessly one-shots it with a devastating punch. That kicks off Section 3. The Goblin Warlord, a monster horde. Now, monsters were supposed to be completely eradicated, right? Wrong.
A massive horde is steadily marching right toward their territory. Asher and Laika infiltrate the monster camp and run smack into Tarkin. This guy isn't your average mindless grunt. He's a highly intelligent, incredibly muscular goblin boss. Tarkin fights with these highly advanced spear thrusts that can overwhelm even elite knights. In fact, he effortlessly shatters Laika's sword and very nearly kills her on the spot. Just as Tarkin is mocking human techniques as weak and inferior, Asher steps in. He decides to prove the sheer dominance of human swordsmanship once and for all. He actually catches the goblin spear bare-handed. His blade starts crackling with lightning, and he executes this massive, perfectly placed strike right across the warlord's chest, bringing the arrogant giant straight to his knees. It is so satisfying to watch.
Beaten and utterly humiliated, Tarkin confesses something that changes the entire story. He reveals that a high-ranking demon was actually the one commanding his horde, meaning the peace of the last 50 years, it's been a complete lie. The terrifying truth is that the Demon King's forces are resurrecting. They've been pulling the strings from the shadows this whole time, plotting their ultimate revenge against humanity.
Which leads us directly into Section 4, Reunited in the Capital, Echoes of the Past. Determined to investigate these returning demons, Asher heads straight for the Imperial capital. While there, he crosses paths with Captain Arena Varsiliculus, a famously cold, high-ranking officer of the Imperial Guard. But when she watches Asher train, her icy exterior shatters and she breaks down in tears. She realizes this young boy is flawlessly wielding the exact same Imperial stance as the man who rescued her, a terrified dark elf orphan from a burning forest 50 years ago. Even without knowing he's reincarnated, she instantly places her absolute trust in him.
Now for our climax in Section 5, The Corrupted Master, Descent into the Underworld.
Guided by a mystical ghost sword, Asher discovers this horrific dark energy leaking just beneath the capital's streets. He descends into the underground rift to find Crocus, the current master of the depths and, as it happens, his old war companion. You see, the Master of the Depths is a secret hero tasked with acting as a human shield against demonic energy from the rift. It's a miserable, lonely existence forced upon a hero living like a prisoner in the shadows.
But in a totally crushing plot twist, Asher doesn't find the savior he was expecting. After fighting through relentless waves of shadow demons alongside Arena and an unlikely alliance with Tarkin, they finally reach the center of the rift, and there stands Lord Crocus. But he has been completely corrupted by the very dark magic he swore to block, and he now looks like a terrifying dark fantasy villain.
Decades of isolation completely broke the man. Crocus absolutely hates the empire that praised him as a hero while simultaneously forcing him to rot in a hole. Now he's snapping. He's attempting to force his distorted dark power onto a young successor. In Crocus's twisted mind, the only fair solution is to unleash the shadow demons, declare that he will turn the entire world into a prison, and make everyone on the surface suffer exactly the way he did.
Asher, refusing to let his oldest surviving comrade destroy the world, doesn't hesitate for a second. Relying on decades of cold, hardened discipline, he nullifies the dark magic. He charges his sword with lightning, instantly closes the distance, and abruptly plunges his blade straight through Crocus's chest. It is a brutal, profoundly heart-wrenching moment, but it was literally the only way to stop the madness.
So this leaves us with one terrifying, highly provocative question. Asher just struck down the Master of the Depths, the literal only man keeping the demons at bay. So what exactly is going to stop hell from spilling over into the capital now? The portal is wide open and the Demon King's forces are on the move. Asher's journey from a useless noble to the sole protector of the realm has just hit its most explosive turning point yet. Thanks so much for joining us for this explainer, and definitely stay tuned to see how this incredible saga unfolds.